All right, well, hello, Phi Sigma Pi universe out there tonight. Hopefully you can hear us. So thank you so much for being here for our event planning roundtable. I think it's going to be a really great time with a lot of awesome information. So tonight, as you may have noticed, I am not Ryan Alexander. He's unable to be with us this evening, and so you have me. I am Jenna Guy, one of the chapter consultants. I originally am from the Eta Alpha chapter, and so I am really happy to be here. And then we also have Nicole. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, everyone. I'm Nicole Lobby. I am Phi Sigma Pi's programming coordinator, and I am a brother from the Epsilon Xi Chapter at the University of Texas at San Antonio. So definitely glad to be here with you, Jenna.
Awesome. Yay. I'm happy to have you here too. Yep, Nicole is a really great resource for this, since a lot of what she does is help with event planning for regional conference and then other things. So she's a really, really great resource. So I guess just to get started, we will be taking questions towards the end for those of you who are watching us live tonight. So if you have a question, feel free to ask it on Twitter using the hashtag PSP Roundtable. So I'm hoping that you all are more literate in Twitter than I am so that you can do that. So my secret's out of the bag. I'm not good at Twitter. So great. So just to jump in and get started with our first question, it is, what types of events are successful for chapters? Nicole, do you want to start with an answer for that?
Sure. I think it varies definitely among the chapters. Obviously, everyone has different interests and things that they'd like to try. But, you know, doing something that's bonding and kind of gives an opportunity for brothers to learn different things, I always find those tend to be really good events, just because brothers are trying something that they never tried before.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Some other things that I think make for really successful events are ones where you're able to engage as much of the chapter as possible. If you have 100% or really close to that attendance, I think that says that it's a very successful event. Other ones where you're able to engage the rest of campus and be able to give back either through maybe some service or giving the rest of your campus community an opportunity that they wouldn't have otherwise. That's also a really great way. And then, of course, college students, like, what is the best thing you could do in an event? Have food. Food, such a great component of an event. So another big part of a successful event is how it's planned and how it's coordinated. You want that to be smooth. You want to make sure that the people who are there know what's going on, and the people on the back end do as well. So that kind of leads us into our next question, which is, how do you get the whole chapter involved in planning an event or attending?
Well, for this, you're definitely wanting to delegate tasks out. I know, especially as a chair or even an officer, sometimes you get stuck on doing everything yourself, but it really is important to give the opportunity to the other members in your committee or in the chapter so that they can all have an input. Oftentimes what I would do is see what brothers' interests are in my committee and see like what they're good at, usually because then they'll be more inclined to, you know, participate in that event and really help to make it a good event.
Yeah, I think those are all absolutely helpful things. So with that delegation, I know what some chapters will do is they'll have kind of event hosts who are responsible for doing the attendance, taking part in that, in some of the more logistical parts of it. And that doesn't have to be a committee chair. So if you're able to get different members of the committee or the chapter have a little bit more responsibility in what they're doing, they're going to care more about what it is. And then if someone has been in that place before, they're going to be more likely to want to come out to support the people who are planning it in the future. So by delegating and giving higher responsibilities to your members, by, like Nicole said, using those skills that you know that they have, you're able to potentially help fuel other events in the future, because once they kind of get that taste, they're like, oh, wow, that's a lot of work. We really need to be able to help with that. So, and then just making the topic broad so that it appeals to as many people in the chapter as possible. That's a good thing too. Do you have anything else to add, Nicole?
Yeah, to kind of piggyback off of that, another good idea to kind of get events that the chapter would be interested is do surveys. You can always do surveys at the beginning of each semester and kind of see what brothers would be interested in participating. And not besides that too, a lot of chapters will also vote on events, see who has interest. Why shouldn't you vote on an event? Usually it won't take that long, but you want to get the brothers' input, and usually at chapter meetings, that's the best time to do that. You want to see who would be interested or even who can attend the event. So that will really give you as the committee chair or even the brothers spearheading that specific event kind of an outlet to see, well, is it really worth the time to throw an event if the chapter is really not interested, or time permitting they're not able to participate.
Yeah, that's another really great important part of it. I know some chapters will take kind of an interest poll, so they'll have a sign up sheet for those who are interested, and then so if they get a certain number of names on that sheet, that means okay, we're going to move forward with the event. And then later they'll have one that says, yes, I'll be there. So there's kind of a two-tier part in that planning process that I think is able to help kind of gauge how much interest that you have, so that you can, like Nicole said, put your energy into what is going to have the biggest kind of turnaround for. So awesome. All right, so on to our next question. What does a timeline look like for a larger event? So that is kind of a big one. Big question.
Yeah, definitely. One of the more larger events that chapters obviously participate in are the regional conferences. And in planning those alone, chapters will plan these months out. It takes most of the fall semester and part of the spring semester to plan these type of larger events. One thing that I find is always starting backwards. So you need to pick a date of when your event is, and then kind of work backwards from there. So that way you can figure out, okay, what tasks need to be done at what certain points in your timeline. Definitely creating a timeline, a checklist of when items need to be accomplished is going to make sure that you stick to your timeline and get that event done. And then also thinking of items such as fundraising. So if you need a fundraise, obviously most likely that needs to be done before you even start all the planning, so that you have the funds ahead of time for your events, especially for those larger events.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, I think those checklists, that's one of the really key things there. And I love that idea of starting from the end, because that's the goal. That's where you have to end up. So starting there and then working backwards can be really helpful. So yeah, just break that down into time intervals, so that then when it's finished at a certain time, you know exactly what that is. And then another thing that I recommend with that is share it with other people. Don't make it so that you as the committee chair are the only person who has this information, because then what if you get really busy doing something and something falls through? Share it with other people so that you are held accountable for yourself. But also that kind of could give other people the opportunity to help out as well. So I think Phi Sigma Pi offers a lot of really amazing opportunities for collaboration. And so with a larger event, don't put it on your own shoulders. You're going to be able to learn so much more by collaborating with other people and holding each other accountable as you move forward.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. And for timeline wise, if you're not really sure on how to make a timeline, definitely you can reach out to your university, like your events management or your room reservation office. A lot of times they even have those resources for you. They already have checklists for you. So all you have to do is print it out, and it's a basic timeline that can apply to most events, larger events. And then even talking to student activities, oftentimes they're planning large events for student organizations. So those departments can give you resources if you're not sure on where to start.
Yeah, that's such a great point. That the universities where we have our chapters can be such amazing resources because they do this all the time for not just Phi Sigma Pi, but all sorts of different organizations. So yeah, that's really awesome. Do you have anything else to add on that one, Nicole?
Well, of course, always, like you just said, reiterate, always ask for help if you need it, especially with planning those larger events, you know, and use all the resources that you can. Use your chapter, that's what they're there for, to help plan those events, and, you know, try to get everyone involved, especially if it's an event that's involving your university and community. This is your way to get your name out. So you want all of your chapter involved in helping, you know, PR for your event and really giving a voice to your chapter.
Yeah, awesome. All right, so now kind of moving into some of the more specific logistics. What steps do we need to take with our school, and what steps do we need to take with the national office? So kind of two different places there.
Oh, yes. Those are definitely both important aspects of planning your event. As far as the schools, it obviously varies. Every school has different regulations on what they have for having an event on campus. Sometimes you'll need approvals from different departments, so make sure you find those out in advance, especially oftentimes those forms need to be submitted at least a month or two before an event. And also if you need to get such a faculty signature, for example, on a room reservation, you know, you make sure you can get in contact with them so that you can get your space. Definitely make sure, like I mentioned, reach out to your events management or your room reservation department, and they should be able to supply you with all the information you need on having a successful event on your campus. And then with national office, we have a lot of resources. One of the big resources we have is our event planning form. To find that form, you'll just go to www.phisigmapi.org/planning form. And this is a really good tool that we offer to the Brotherhood. It gives you a chance to see everything you need about your event, and it allows you to be able to hold fun and safe events for your chapter. You know, this is the Brotherhood, and we want to make sure you guys have fun, but make sure that you have everything planned out for your event. And it's really good, especially for those events that you're going to have to sign a contract, or it's some type of physical activity that has competition or timekeeping. And then also, sometimes events that you have require insurance. So this event planning form will really help you to get through all those major details of your event.
Yeah, so even if you're not quite sure if the event planning form is the right thing for you, totally recommend that you go to that website that Nicole mentioned and take a look at it. There's an option, so it tells you first some of the different points that you might want to fill out the form for, but then you also can view it as a PDF and kind of get an idea of all of the different things that they're asking about, to be like, oh, that actually might be something that could really be useful for us. So once you fill out that form, someone will get back to you, and it's just a very comprehensive, good way for especially some of those bigger events. So backtracking a little bit back to the university side of things, yeah, absolutely, that events management or maybe even student organizations center, great places to go. Another thing to be aware of is sometimes there are some food vendor restrictions. I know some universities require that if you're going to have food at an on-campus event, it has to come from university catering. So just make sure that you are up to date on that kind of policy. And a really great source for that could be your faculty or alumni advisor. I can't speak enough for how useful those people can be in some of that university side of things and being able to give some advice about what you need to know ahead of time. So make sure that you reach out to those people as you're trying to figure out those steps and you're creating your timeline. All right. Do you have anything else to add there, Nicole?
No, you definitely covered all the other aspects as well. That I
Great. Okay, so now moving on to something very exciting. How should chapters plan for the fraternity's Centennial on February 14th, 2016?
Well, definitely you should celebrate. Happen one time. Our Centennial 100 years, this is a really great opportunity to showcase your chapter to a community, showcase the fraternity and, really show what our organization is about. This is really a great opportunity to showcase.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have this really great guide that you can use to help plan for that. It is called the Centennial Planning Guide. All of your chapters should have received a hard copy when you were at convention this past year, but you can also find it on the website. If you go to phisigmapi.org/resources, you'll find a bunch of different documents. Some documents that could be very helpful for you in event planning altogether. But if you go to Centennial, there's the Centennial Planning Guide. And I believe that it should also be on your chapter portal as well. So just take a look at this guide, and it has some of these exact things that Nicole and I have been talking about, timelines for when you should have things done. It has some examples for some PR that you can use, some different ideas of other ways to get involved. So take a look at that Centennial Planning Guide. And if you have any questions, let your chapter consultant know, or I'm sure Nicole would be happy to help you out as well. So yeah, do you have anything else to add?
Yeah, definitely. And, any event is a great way to showcase your chapter, even tabling, something simple as like handing out cake and with balloons and stuff like that. That's simple PR, but it's also celebrating, our centennial. So even if your chapter doesn't have a lot of funding to have a huge extravagant event, there are still ways that you can celebrate the centennial and, really build that brotherly bonding and, show everyone that we reached 100 years.
Yeah. So, I mean, a great way to do that is through celebrating the tripod and maybe having some smaller events throughout the week leading up that have to do with different scholarship or leadership or fellowship that kind of shows your campus like, hey, look, we're here and we've been here for 100 years. So you should think we're cool too. So great. So we've already kind of talked about this next question a little bit, but who can I go to for help?
Yes, definitely. Like we mentioned before, there are many resources on your university, so definitely reach out to them, as well as the national office. You can contact me. You can contact your chapter consultant. I would say even use your alumni and faculty advisor as well. They have resources, especially alumni. They've experienced planning events. They know what the chapter has done previously, so definitely use them as a resource. And especially with the regional conferences coming up, that's a great way to get ideas for events. The roundtable discussions, that'll be a good opportunity during your regional conference to find ideas for events, see what other chapters use as resources to plan the events they have on campus.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, I can definitely say your chapter consultant would love to talk to you about some of these event planning components. And then if you are the type of person that you are all about research and you might want to try to figure some of that out before you go to a specific person for question, our national website is really an amazing source for information. So check out that resource center that I mentioned before, and take a look at all of the information there. I guarantee there's so much there that you could find. So if that is the type of person you are, it's a really, really great source. And you could do that in addition to talking to your university, your advisors, your consultant, the rest of the national staff. So take a look at that. All right. So there are some other things that you can use to help prepare yourself and your chapter for some of this event planning. And what better way than through leadership in action? So we have 3 different leadership in action modules, kind of about juggling multiple priorities at a time, which what else do we do as college students? So those 3 are: that was due when, I can do that later, and cut the clutter. So I think those sound really useful. So then there's also one that focuses on starting with a strong foundation, which is called the team foundation, the winning combination. So you can request all of these at phisigmapi.org/request a module. So take a look at those. Another great way to educate yourselves on how to have these successful events, or how to have the skills necessary to help do some of the logistics there. So that is all of the specific questions we have prepared, but now we'll be able to jump into some of the other questions we have from all of you. So just a reminder, if you have any questions, ask them on Twitter to #PSP Roundtable. But first, we have one that came in through email. Nicole, do you want to read that?
Yes. So our first question is, my chapter has been combating low morale this year, and we have been experiencing issues with brothers being disinterested in being at events, even if they attend them. We have discussed revamping some of our traditional events, but many of our new ideas will make the events totally different than it had been in the past. It's creating an issue between tradition and moving forward with the newer brothers. Their question is, how do we go about revamping old events without losing the tradition that we love?
Oh, that's definitely a difficult situation to be in, but all is not lost. And I will say that you're definitely not alone. This is something that chapters definitely do struggle with. I've heard of situations like this before, but one of the main suggestions would be to just really emphasize the importance of traditional events, but also to relate that importance and that tradition to the new ideas that you want to implement. Just kind of a common theme throughout Phi Sigma Pi is just because it's been done one way for the same way for a long time, that's not a good reason for continuing it. In fact, it might be the poorest reason for continuing it. So one way to kind of handle that is maybe to incorporate parts or themes from the old events into the new events. So to try to kind of keep that connection, but to keep moving forward. That's kind of one of the most important things, is keep on keeping on, I guess.
Yeah, I would definitely say incorporating a mix of that and kind of getting brothers a new twist to an event. Some brothers are members when they're in their undergraduate chapter for for 3.5 years. That's a really long time, and having the same event over and over will eventually get old. So it's always a great opportunity to try to something new and intertwine a new event into a traditional event. That way everyone can experience something, and it doesn't always feel like the same event done year after year after year.
Yep, I think that's a great thing. And then sometimes it's good just to try to maybe ask some of those older members for advice on kind of the new things that you want to do, and try to get them involved. It can be a really scary time once you're ending college and everything that you've known and everything that you've worked for is about ready to not be in your day-to-day life the way that it was before. So it totally makes sense that you would want to really hang on to those traditions and the things that are comfortable to you. So try to remember that that's the place where some of these brothers might be coming from, and try to engage them in what you're doing and use the amazing knowledge and experience that they have from being in the organization for a long time, and let them know that you do value that and that you'd love to get their help on maybe the component of the event that has a traditional part to it, or even on something new.
Definitely. I would agree with you, Jetta.
All right, awesome.
We did get some questions from Twitter.
Great.
Okay, our first question is from Brooke. She asks, we are trying to be smarter with our spending. What are some free or cheap event ideas?
Ooh. Well, one of my favorites for social events is do board games. Just ask what brothers have. That's a great way to get connected with each other. And another really fun one is to do minute to win it game activities. Oftentimes it's pretty cheap stuff like toilet paper, things that you would have access to that you could use. So those are pretty good. And then for scholarship, say, utilize your own brothers. If you want to learn about something that is a skill or a talent that your brothers have. You have this knowledge here. All you need is a room, a place to do it, and you can learn something really cool, or maybe learn about a heritage or something like that from your chapter. So kind of look within, like, what do you have? What do you already have within your chapter that you can have, that you can use? Do you have any other ideas?
Yeah, definitely. I agree with those ideas, using your brothers as resources, and also using your university campus. For instance, your rec center, they offer free classes. Some will, workout classes. They also demo kitchens. You can use your university, those free resources. You're all students. So a lot of, or even the events that are already being planned on campus, you can kind of try to incorporate that. Having movie night on the campus too. That's something easy. You just have to get a space and rent that space. Usually with most students, orgs, you get free rental space for those rooms. So you can use those as well. And then even local events too throughout your city, those free festivals, those are really good opportunities for scholarship. And learning about different cultures. Those are great ideas. They're free. And, the brothers can carpool to those events.
Yeah, absolutely. Along with that, a lot of universities do have free galleries or museums. Sometimes you can get free tickets to productions at your university's theater department or music department. So those could be some really great things for scholarship or even for fellowship, a chance to get to experience something new together. There's a lot of really awesome resources that you really don't have to pay anything for, or just get outside, get into nature, go for a walk, maybe bring a book of like different trees or birds that you could identify as you do that. And there's definitely a lot out there. You just have to kind of keep the eyes open, I guess. But absolutely, those campus resources, one of the greatest sources that you can have for that.
Yeah, and even you can even find out through your city websites the different events usually being held throughout the city, and a lot of places will have student discounts. Or when you're calling to go to an event, you can see if you get like a bulk discount or if there's a student volume discount. That will kind of help alleviate costs as well for your chapter.
Yep, awesome.
Did you have any other comments, Jenna?
Nope, I think that's it. Though, of course, if you would like more information, contact your chapter consultant, and I'm sure they would be happy to help brainstorm with you a little bit.
Definitely. We got another question from Twitter from Ashley. She asked, what are some exciting events that have been successful in the past?
That is such a big question. It can be difficult because what is exciting at one campus, what works at one campus might not work at another one. Nicole, can you think of any right off the top of your head? I'm working on it right now. Well, I know that I did recently hear from a chapter that for scholarship had a week-long awareness of a medical condition. And so that was really exciting for the chapter because it was something that meant a lot to them. But also meant a lot to different members of the community. So they made a lot of really cool connections as they were educating others. So that can be really exciting. Make something like a week long, have different components to it, different educational things or different things like that, and engage in your community.
Yeah, definitely. And some other events, well, food, like we mentioned before, I think any event involving food usually does really well. So like I had mentioned before, like a kitchen demo or showing brothers like their favorite meals kind of thing. Also, like ice skating, rollerblading, those kinds of events are usually have good turnouts. And like definitely events where you're learning something new. I know my chapter had a Quidditch event, and that was like, that was a lot of the brothers love Harry Potter. So, I mean, obviously it depends if your chapter, whatever they're into, their interests are. But that Quidditch event was really successful, and a lot of brothers liked it.
Yeah. And, I really do hear often that some of the most meaningful events are the ones where you're learning something about your brothers. So I remember hearing about one where a brother presented some research that she was going to be presenting at a conference later. And so she practiced for her chapter as an event. And it was great because she was able to practice. They were able to learn from her. And it was just this amazing connection back and forth. And it was, I think, one of the favorite events, at least when I was there, that they were all really excited about. And then one of my favorite events when I was a brother, there was a brother who knows how to spin poi. I don't know if anyone knows what that is. You often see it at Renaissance fairs and things like that. So it's basically like a kind of ball on a string that you spin around and do all of these crazy things with. And so it was this really cool talent that she had that she'd worked really hard on. So she did a number for us, performed, and then she helped teach us some of it. And it was really hard. And so we were able to appreciate what this is, some of like this crazy thing that she did, and understand how much practice it took. But we also had a lot of laughs while we were doing that. So if you want to do something like that, maybe start out your semester with a survey saying, do you have any cool talents or skills that you'd be interested in teaching the chapter? Ask around and kind of figure it, like find out from there. I think your own brothers are some of the best resources that you have.
Yeah, definitely. I have to find out more about that whatever. That is really cool, really fun.
Yeah.
Okay, we have another question for Twitter. Elizabeth asks, the most frequent event is our weekly chapter meetings. Do you have advice on getting morale up for these meetings?
Yes. Honestly, there are so many great ways. Chapter meetings don't have to be all just business, next item, next item. It's important to be organized and professional while you do that, but you can also put in icebreaker activities, group discussions, maybe just have 5 minutes at the beginning of chapter where you talk to a group of 5 people about something that you enjoy. I know sometimes having a role question where you ask about something silly or something personal, as simple as what's your favorite class this semester, can make you feel connected to your brothers, and that can raise morale. There are also different brother spotlights that you can do that will help kind of bring up that morale within that meeting. And then maybe every once in a while, have food there. We've talked about that as such a great thing. But maybe see if brothers will bring food, kind of have a potluck at the end of your chapter meeting. And so it's something for people to look forward to and to enjoy with each other.
Yeah, definitely. And also, you can also try to make your reports more lively. I know, for instance, like the historian will mention cool, interesting facts about Phi Sigma Pi, or they'll like ask questions like about PST from when you're an initiate and see if you can remember all the historical facts, really trying to interact more with the chapter so it's not solely just business. You can always try to input fun into the meetings. And another thing too is oftentimes I know with my chapter, brothers would show up before the meeting, and it's kind of like we would mingle before the meeting starts, or even after the meetings, having like chapter dinners afterwards. Is a really great way to kind of just like, okay, we're done with business, we're all hungry now. Let's go interact after the meeting. It's also a way to boost morale in your chapter.
Yeah, and I know when I was on chapter visit with Epsilon Chi Chapter, who I think might be watching right now, their exec played like the Jurassic Park theme song as everyone was walking in. And so just by playing music when you walk in, it was something you kind of felt like you were in an adventure movie. And so that was fun. But even just an upbeat, happy song, having that play for the first few minutes before it really gets started, it can kind of start to get people in a better mood or have them talk about like, what? Jurassic Park, what is this? But just something that's a little bit more fun and lighthearted before you have to get down to business.
Yeah, definitely. Or, even doing stretches. I know before some meetings, just throughout college and in your professional life, just having everyone stand up, take a deep breath, do stretches, kind of get everyone relaxed and ready for the meeting, kind of also helps too.
Or even halfway through, maybe if people are starting to get kind of tired and antsy, stop and have a stretch break. Do a little bit of yoga, see what can kind of get people back into the zone.
Great. We have a question from the Epsilon Chi chapter. And hi, thank y'all for watching. They want to know how they can approach starting to do campus-wide events to get more than just brothers to attend.
Yeah, it's all about PR, really, and word of mouth can be such a powerful tool. So having members who are involved in different organizations, have them talk about these events to the different organizations. Collaborating with other organizations can be another really great way to kind of get your foot in the door there. And maybe start small. Maybe start with something that is like an event-long kind of educational thing where you just have information that doesn't take as much effort, but it can kind of start to get your foot in the door there.
Yeah, I would say definitely recruit. PR is very important for those events. People have to catch an advertisement. I think it's like 12 times before it even stays in their, stays in their mind. So definitely PR promoting it, and then reach out to student activities. Usually there are different means that you can post around campus, and then use your brothers, like we've said before, as resources. Many times brothers are members of other organizations. They can get their brothers to come, and then collaboration with other student organizations, helping them with their events, definitely, so that way in return they'll come out to your events, and trying to work with them, or even try to work to a well-established student organization on your campus. I know like the university-sponsored organizations, they get a lot more funding, and it's a way too, if you can try to co-sponsor with them, they'll have more means to reach out to more of the campus possibly.
Yep. I think those are all really great things. So, utilize what you already have, social media, word of mouth, tell your friends, have your friends tell their friends, and just kind of put everything out there that you can, and just kind of go from there.
Looks like that's our only question. Oh, we have one more question, sorry. We have two more questions from Twitter.
Oh my goodness.
From the Epsilon Chi chapter, how can our chapter be working with Hobie this spring?
Ooh, Nicole, do you want to take that?
Yeah, definitely I can take that. So Hobie will actually be coming out to the regional conferences this spring. So it'll be a great opportunity for your chapter to see what the local Hobie volunteers will need in the area and what their upcoming programming seminars that they might be having. So that's definitely attend your regional conference. You can ask questions to see what they'll be needing in the near future. Also, you can go on their website and see what seminars they have coming up and reach out to that the regional representative for the area where you're located in. There are a lot of opportunities that we'll be able to have with Hobie, and then obviously at the regional conference we'll be able to interact with them and really see what resources they're needing and what kind of events you can coordinate with them. And if you have any questions, feel free to contact me and I can show you where all those resources are. We did add some of those resources to the Resource Center. So if you go onto the phisigmapi.org, in the Resource Center, there is a Hobie folder, and in there you can find all the different fundraising ideas, service ideas that you can do with Hobie.
Yep, absolutely. That was what I was going to add. Go to that Resource Center, check on Hobie, and it has some really great information about some of the more specifics there. And then absolutely reach out to Nicole, and your chapter consultants, I'm sure, would also be happy to talk to you about other ways that you can get involved in this very exciting new relationship that Phi Sigma Pi has.
And our final question of the night is, what are some fun ideas for risk management events?
This is one of my favorite things. So I have heard about some really amazing risk management events this year. One, getting fire extinguisher training. So how to properly use a fire extinguisher, I guess, having the fire department come in and do that. Having maybe your public safety come in and talk to your chapter about safe practices. I know some chapters have decided to go through safe zone training to handle kind of that other side of maybe the emotional part of risk management and making sure that they're creating a safe space for all sorts of people. Taking self-defense classes can be a really fun risk management thing that you can do together. CPR, first aid classes. There's a lot of really cool risk management things out there. Nicole, do you have any other good ones?
Yeah, definitely. You can reach out to the different departments on your campus, such as your university police. A lot of times they'll do like defense classes for free. They'll talk about emergency information for your campus, really provide you resources to give out to your brothers, especially when it comes to events and just general safety on the campus. And then also reaching out to your student activities. A lot of times universities will already hold those type of events. So definitely, try to participate in those or see if they have any resources where you can have someone come to the campus to give those types of presentations.
Yep, absolutely. I think that a creative risk management event can be one of the coolest things that you have throughout the whole semester. So yeah, just be creative, maybe ask other chapters what they're doing, and just kind of know that, like, as long as it has to do with different things that could help you out in a situation like that, that it's a great thing for risk management. So awesome. All right, so have we had any others pop through there?
No, that was our final question.
All right. Well, thank you all so much for being here with Nicole and I. Remember that you can always access these roundtables on Phi Sigma Pi's YouTube page. There's an archive, so you can learn about this. You can learn about chapter morale or any of the other past ones that you've had. Some future roundtables that we have coming up. There's one on recruitment and retention hosted by our Vice President of Membership Development, Chris McCoy, officer transitioning with National Secretary Natalie Mickelson, fundraising with our Vice President of Finance, Sarah Cantwell. And then also remember, we have our Centennial coming up. There will be a Founders Day celebration at Millersville University on February 14th, 2016, and you can RSVP at phisigmapi.org/founders ceremony. That will be a really cool, exciting time for everyone. Then also we have the 2016 Alumni Convention coming up, and I'm super excited for the 2016 National Convention back in Missouri, so that will be great. So you can register there already now at phisigmapi.org/national convention. So we have a lot of really exciting things coming up. So thank you all so much for being here with us tonight, and I hope you have a great rest of your Wednesday evening.
Yeah, thanks for the questions.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.